Hello, hello. Okay. welcome. So this is going to be the second review stream of the same set of scrims. Now, normally it's not going to be two streams that are review for one set of scrims, but we're trying some new things. We're trying out these puzzles and all that kind of stuff. So important from my side that we put enough time in to make the first ones as good as possible. Sorry, I'm just quickly grabbing a thing. Because we want basically the players to like them, obviously. And so the first impression is always going to be important. So what I've got now is Saviour had 4, I think, unique puzzles that we made from that first game, from the previous scrim. We took 2.5 hours to go through one game. So I'd like to do a little bit faster today. So I'm going to look through those. Then I'm going to check anything that I want to change, if I do. And then we'll look over the other games as well. The other thing that I'll need to do is record a little clip explaining what things are, how they're going, all that kind of thing. So let's get to it. This is what players are going to see once I click this preview button. This part they won't see. They'll just see it on here. So let's look at this and see what we think. You should be able to hear it as well when it starts, but let me know if you can't. We've got the corky sound still bugged. He talks about this. It was recorded without the timers here, which means it isn't ideal. We can repeat the intro. I think allows it to do some things, but still you're going to get 3 different options. You pick one. So we obviously wanted to move to river. Rakan Bates should be okay, and Varus Bates should be bad answer. Brilliant choice. I might change this to good choice. Brilliant choice to me sounds like there's no other response, which is true. I think a lot of times is individual stuff, less likely to be true for pro stuff. At least it's not what I want to put as true until we decide that we always move with prios. Then absolutely, I would have this as okay, right? This is the truth. But until we actually decide that, then I don't want to say it myself. So I'll change this. Let me write that down. Add dragon timer. First puzzle. Move into river equals good choice. Okay, now what should Rakan do? So this is when we bait with... We're stepping up here with Varus, which we don't need to do. We also use our ult right before the right time. So I think there's no way this situation goes good for us. So Syndra gets chunked out of mid. We can recall or trap. This one, I think the second question is maybe... It wasn't actually one that we went over, I think. I thought the second question was going to be around Syndra resetting. This question that's coming up now. Okay. Contest Drake or recall. We were saying recall to be out on the map for the next thing. And we just take the... This is wrong, I think, right? Because Contest Drake isn't a good choice. We've got no Varus ult. Yeah, I might change that, like Syndra and the team as well. Yeah, exactly. No Varus summoners, really low. That was the whole point of what we had before. So I'll change that. And that's the point of going through it again. Because he made a bunch, after our discussion, he made loads of puzzles. So of course, there's going to be like little mistakes in them. So here we had, like now Syndra recalling is not ideal. Play Void Grubs. even all of it is like, I think this is the better choice. I think Void Grubs is probably the better choice, but the flank is actually okay as well. Okay, so I'll change all that and then we watch the ending. Then I'll record a little thing for it. Okay. So because it's not, to jump back, because that's not the published version, this is still in the editor. So I'm hoping you guys can see now how we'll do it. So issue 1, what should bot lane do? Dragon was like 11:30. I think it's 32. I think it's 30 seconds after this. And what were the answers? Answers: bad choice. Varus Bates, bad choice. Rakan choice, okay bait, brilliant choice. I'm gonna change this to good choice. We can potentially push Maokai off the pink as well. Okay, that one was good though. Issue 2, what should Rakan do? I'm not... Yeah, fight losing tempo to leave base with Varus. Ruining your tempo for very unlikely play. Ruining... Okay, then answer 2, restore resources before Drake, before next sequence, which includes Drake / Grubs. I think that's always better to think about, like, rather than just, okay, we're going to play Drake next. It's like, okay, but it's good to be high HP, because even if we're not playing Drake, the other thing we're going to do, you can be the higher resource for. So that's an important one. Oh, okay. Wait, sorry. Hey, I just replied to you by message. I can make a little video for each question. I was trying to combine all of them in one. That's good then. Okay. Right. Then issue 3, Syndra. I think this one, like I said, I like this to be the team rather than necessarily just Syndra. What should, even though it's Syndra who's going to be the one to base, what should we do? I think that's fine. Right, that's not too confusing. What should we do? Answer 1. Contest Drake. This fight is unlikely. This will say as good choice, recall. This means we can play the next sequence or waves. I'll just put sequence with higher resources. Okay, if I can make okay, but basically what I'm asking is, like, when we put a video, does it come up after every choice, or does it come up all the way at the end? That's basically what I want to know. Either works. I'll just film it in a slightly different way. Would it be Syndra's job to call off the Drake? It could be. I think everyone should be thinking this Drake is bad. We've got no sums on Varus. We've got no ult on Varus. Yeah, we do have Rakan ult soon, and we have the other ults, but like 4 ults to 3, plus also no sums on Varus. Like, this is one of those situations where it's very tempting to look at this about the micro details and say, I mean, even in the game, even in the review, we said like, oh, we misplayed the fight. It's like, yeah, but they misplayed the fight as well. Like Varus should have just insta-died. He's got no summoners. He can't walk into ult range of people and just not die. And then we say, okay, well, it's just because we misplayed. Okay, I'll have a look at another puzzle to see when the things come up, but let me just make sure all the rest of these are right. So what should Rakan do? Again, I'll change this to what should we do? And here will be, yeah, it's like play Void Grubs, Rakan flanks. Yeah, so it's already got Rakan flank. I think play Void Grubs is a good choice. To recall, if we shift instantly to the cross map, we'll at least get something. Good choice. You might find a good angle, although it's a higher variance play. Actually, I'll change this. If we shift instantly to cross map. Cross map is lower variance than this fight. I don't want to say like we will lose the fight, so I'll say like variance. I might have to get your help as where I actually put these videos once they're done, but I'll film them today. Okay, so I can film videos for all of these for sure, quite easily. Let's look at where bad choice fight, teammates don't have cooldowns. Brilliant choice recall. Okay. I thought we had recall was earlier, wasn't it? So for me, I would just put this as like an okay choice. Because I think when you recall, like you're not going to have that much more tempo than them, are you? Like not enough to make an objective. I'll put it as okay choice. Or good choice again. What did I put the others as? Good choice, good choice, good choice. For now, the actual quantity of the choices I'm worried less about, because again, if I was doing this not for a team, I would actually spend a lot of time and work out which I think is the absolute best. But for me, the main purpose of these early puzzles is to just see what people put. Like, let's say 2 people put Syndra recalls, 3 people put fight. Like, okay, or 2 people play grubs and 3 people play fight. It's like, okay, that means that 2 of them are already thinking about like the variance of the play, and the others are thinking like, no, we should be a team that plays on the edge and can say like, well, we'll outplay and we'll win this fight. Either one is okay. It gets us all on the same page, which is again why these I think are going to be so useful at the beginning, or throughout. Okay, because I think the recall should happen straight away, like in this one. This moment is when you recall for me. Okay, good. So upload, error during puzzle upload. Okay. Where do I add the videos? Oh, description video. Okay, perfect. So it's after every issue. Okay, good. So we're going to record a bunch of little videos now. Let's hope that they work properly. I don't know if this kind of stream is interesting, by the way. I was thinking like, do I do all this off stream or do I do it on stream? So do please let me know. It's not obviously as prepared. It's not obviously as fluid, but you actually get to see literally the process of what it's going to be. So I'm hoping that part of it at least is useful. What time are we? 11:30. So I want to take the chat off. I want to put objective timers on. I want to switch to just our vision. I want to jump back here. Then I want to get this all ready to record a video. So this is going to be the clip. I'll show this. It's like, what are we going to do with this crashing wave? Got dragon come up in 35 seconds. Okay, good. I'm not going to like fully prepare all of them because it will take a long time. I'm not going to like talk it through because I kind of want a discussion. Okay. Okay, so this is the first question of the very first puzzle. So what I'm going to do is record a short video for you explaining my thought process, but then afterwards I want to hear about yours. So as we're crashing this wave in bot, we have multiple different choices. We have two people who can go forward and try and bait the engage coming out, considering Yankos is around. And then we also have like, okay, let's just use this tempo to go and do something else and sync up with the team. So for me, Inax here baiting is obviously much, much harder. You've got no sums. I think there is an argument to be made that Nash could be the one stepping forward and seeing if you can get Leona to go on you. I think with the Merc treads, you're probably not going to get 100 to 0'd. But for me, the better play is we just use this tempo advantage. We transition across and we play this area, which in 30 seconds, we're then going to want to have complete control over. So as you'll see, if we had already left the lane and we're already where Sedge is, we can potentially even protect this pink. We can also provide more support for Syndra so she can push up. But I want to hear what you think as well. So finish the rest of this puzzle and then reply in the thread with what else you think. Okay, that was a bit janky, but hopefully gets enough information. With these puzzles, don't you run the risk of your vision of how you play the game gets played to be the only valid way to play the game? Definitely. That's why at the moment, I'm changing all of them to like all the answers that I think are acceptable are all good. They're all the same level. So here, for example, Rakan bait and go in river were both good out of the three options. Now, personally, I think Rakan bait is okay, and I think going in river is brilliant. But I'm not going to put it like that because, like you say, I don't want to just force them to see it how I see it. I want to hear how they see it. And that's the other thing that we mentioned before that can be really useful with the puzzles, is that when you do this with a team, and you'll have seen this in our scrims last time, and for sure LR scrims as well. For example, last time, Santorin or Treats would be the one instantly talking about this in the review. Let's say Treats is instantly talking about it. And then other people would just kind of go along with it. Even they might even convince themselves that I would have come to the same conclusion if Treats hadn't have said Rakan should bait because I should outplay them. And so this way, they actually have to click an answer first. And so we get to see how they're actually thinking rather than just following on everyone else. Okay, that's the first one. Now the next one is here. For this next point, we've got 20 seconds left coming up for the dragon. For me, playing for these kind of picks when she has both summoners already is just not worth it. Recalling now to be on tempo with Varus coming out of base means that we can actually take advantage of the fact that we've got to base a little bit earlier. There's going to be lots of situations like this where you actually get killed, but as long as if we reset quickly and we get back out on the map, we can actually take advantage of the tempo. But again, I want to hear from you. Do you think that this kind of slightly higher risk play, obviously if we can burn summoners from Samira, even if we can't kill her, that then makes the dragon fight different as well, even though we might not necessarily be on time. So again, let me know your thoughts on all these questions at the end. This will be a slightly bit of a janky process, and I think as we go through, it will undoubtedly change a lot, and at the very least, my delivery will change a lot. I think as well, back to your point, Kanwan, once we start building processes with the team of how we play the game, the puzzles become kind of easier to do. If we decide that whenever we crash a wave, we do something, then here it does become easier. And here we just say, it's just a tester. It changes from discovering new things about the game to becoming an exercise that's more about a reflection exercise. And it's a fantastic reflection exercise because you can just have a bunch of questions that you just run through from over the last week of how we play with tempo, and they all are basically saying, let's be active with our tempo. And the brilliant choice is done because it's not my decision, it's the brilliant choice. It's the team's decided this is how we play. So that'll be really good. So it was around here, right? Yeah. After we clear this wave. So after we've cleared this wave in mid, we have two different choices. Do we want to try and contest the dragon, or do we want to try and play the next thing? Now, for me, going into a fight like this, the things that instantly jump to mind is no Varus ult, no Varus sums, and they have control of the area. So it's quite different than in the first question where we could have potentially had control of the area, even though we didn't have Varus sums. So that's why I have recalling for me is a much better situation. We get to come out on the map for the next sequence, a much higher resource. So in this case, you'd be trying to play for the grubs. But even if there's not specifically grubs coming up, I think this kind of fight for me is really, really difficult and less likely to be a productive situation, like be a good situation for us. So maybe even as I'm going through, I'm being a bit more just like sharing my thoughts and less. I don't want to say every time, let me know your thoughts. Seems like an amazing tool with all the tools. Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's a good way to think about it. And when I go through the next clips, the next games, I might just make short videos as well. And that way there's also going to be the comparison. But I think also this will be fun, and that's a big part of it for me. So like all this time for me, like Leona threatening here is a bit weird. Varus has no flash. Like Varus being here, he can be here because they throw out the Maokai and stuff like that, but that's different. Okay, now we're in this situation, and they've thrown out already Maokai. Leona's missed her engage, and Inax has got a really good chunk onto this Samira. So now the fight has changed quite a bit. So when we come forward here, if we are going for the fight, now of course we don't have the cooldowns, 5 seconds, 6 seconds. Firstly, we need to be a lot clearer about this. We went through this already. But for me, these are the kind of situations where if we know we're already playing for the fight, we know the enemy's already going to try and go this way, probably some more poke is going to land once it comes back up. This is a situation where if we're playing these high variance fights and if we're saying, okay, we're just going to play it well, that's a great opportunity to start looking to come from multiple different angles. Because while we don't have sums on Varus and on Jankos, we also know that the enemy has a few flashes down as well. Now they're the tanks, but still. So coming around here, ulting, coming across from here, this way, I like that. I mean, it's very aggressive. Let me know what you think, because I think it's very hard to see these situations in the game, especially as, I mean, Freddy's just clicked back towards mid and then clicked back this way because we were so unsure about if we were going to play this fight or not. So how would you approach situations like this? I think this is probably the kind of most crucial part of this puzzle. Even though the other ones maybe have more impact, we will get ourselves in situations where we're at objectives that maybe it would have been slightly more productive to not be at. We're at objectives without all the tools. All those kind of things will happen. So how do you approach situations like this? No idea if that was any good. So what I'm going to do now, go to where they all are, view the details, they modified, which means that this one is the most recent one. Leona's missed her engage and okay. That was probably weird if you heard me. 1.4, I'll call that. That means that's 1.3. I mean, this is good content, isn't it? Me naming different things on another monitor. 1.2. 1.1. Okay, so this is the first question. Okay, good. They were all in the right order. Perfect. That is some, like I say, that is high quality content. But that's the first puzzle. Good. So now I'm going to look at some of the other ones. And we'll go through. Making all these little videos maybe is going to take too much time in the future, but who knows? Some of these are a little bit different than before. Maybe I'll make one without we'll release them one without videos and one with videos, and ask if like it's just useless without the videos, or if the videos are like not that useful. Because also we can then just have the discussion about the puzzle afterwards, you know? So, okay. So, playing the map after sneaking a void grub. There's only one question here, but what should Sejuani and Rakan do? Okay, this one I will have to make a video about, because I'm actually not sure about this one myself. I think soft contesting this and then looking to play the wave bot is actually fine. Because I think, like I said in the when we were actually doing the review, I think it's really hard to already be at the situation where you're thinking about this and like, can we reach this bot wave? And Inax probably would have to already be pushing it slowly. Like, is it too complicated to actually be able to adapt that kind of call in the fly where you just fully pivot to the other side of the map? So I will make a video about that. Okay, so it's 13 minutes 50. Just John, more like John. There was when I first changed my name to that, it was like someone had like Just John, like, you know, when you have like, do you remember, was it Joe Miller, the caster? And like everyone had a different name, and it was always like, I don't know, Joshua Jack Leesman. And so he started doing Joe Miller. So I was like, Just John Ellis, but then it just keeps going. Okay. So this fight happens. Now we're coming out to the old grubbies.
Turret plating will fall soon.
Oh. Okay, so for this one, I really want to hear your thoughts on this, because for me, when I'm watching something like this, I do think a great play is to instantly pivot and start playing on the bot side of the map. But I think it's hard to actually do in practice. So we're coming up here, we're already talking about in the game, like we only want to get like 1 or 2 grubs. We want to get as much as we can because they've swapped. They're just a little bit behind the actual timing on the play. And Niak gets a really good chunk onto Corki and instantly forces him to base once more. So the question is, at this point where we see that they've committed 3 people to top side, can we just fully commit for the cross map? Can we say, okay, fine, we're taking 1 and then we're going back this way to already just nuke this wave in mid and try and reach this wave in bot, like if it's possible? Now, like I say, it's already very difficult because already I think you have to slow how fast you're pushing this wave. And then we have to start balancing like, okay, how much is Jace going to get here versus how much are we going to get on the other side? We have the advantage of the fact that Samira's most likely play here is actually just to nuke this wave so that they can get to grubs because we're soft contesting. In which case, Jace will be able to clear this wave and they won't be able to play until the next one, which means we get to play 1 wave earlier. But it's very difficult. So how do you approach this kind of situation? How are you evaluating between those 2 choices from the puzzle? Easy. That's puzzle 2. Done. Boom. Puzzle 3. Oh, wait. I want to change both of these to the same answer, just for the same reasons before. I do think I agree at the moment. I would put these answers like that, but I want to keep them the same. Answer text. Slows them down. Maybe we get another grub and we can cover top if necessary. That's probably going to make me upload again, but okay. Wait, I can just already do it, can I? Okay, this is what I should have done. Okay, now what happens if I It's going to take a bit more time to upload it, I guess. Okay, so now it's been successfully uploaded. Yeah, like save states would change overnight the professionalism of League of Legends and make coaches have a much bigger impact. When you had to apply for the LEC, it was because it's a franchise. It's not done by like winning anything. It was done by finding, like writing an application basically. So we had like 120 page application, like business application, and I think 60 pages of that or so were the performance part, which is what I wrote. And one of the questions was, if you could make one change that would help competitive League of Legends, what would it be? So this was in 2016, 2017. And it instantly put like save states. Like, let us either have like a full sandbox tool that we can customize the map, or more easily, let us save points in the game so that we could just come back to this point and play it out again. And like they log in on one side, we log in on the other side, and we just play out. But if you had AIs to do it, it would be even better. Okay, so let's check this now. So this is what they'll see. Yeah, although there was an AI that beat the best Dota team in the world, right? Maybe it wasn't exactly fair, but still, it'll happen. Yeah, so soft contest river plays wave bot. When I'm watching something like this, I do think a great play is to instantly pivot and start playing on the bot side of the map. But I think it's hard to actually do in practice. So we're coming up here, we're already talking about in the game, like we only want to get like 1 or 2 grubs. We want to get as much as we can because they've swapped. They're just a little bit behind the actual timing on the play. And Niak gets a really good chunk onto Corki and instantly forces him to base once more. So the question is, at this point where we see that they've committed 3 people to top side, can we just fully commit for the cross map? Can we say, okay, fine, we're taking 1 and then we're going back this way to already just nuke this wave in mid and try and reach this wave in bot, like if it's possible. Now, like I say, it's already very difficult because already I think you have to slow how fast you're pushing this wave. And then we have to start balancing like, okay, how much is Jace going to get here versus how much are we going to get on the other side? We have the advantage of the fact that Samira's most likely play here is actually just to nuke this wave so that they can get to grubs because we're soft contesting. In which case, Jace will be able to clear this wave and they won't be able to play until the next one, which means we get to play. I think of those 2 options that you guys are talking about, an AI that can play League of Legends properly and can be coded is much closer than a new Riot client. Yeah, someone asked a question in the YouTube and I feel like league puzzles are a bit shaky since it's not a 100% knowledge game like chess. I think it depends how you use them. Again, so in this situation, while we are trying to start to do some learning, the main thing for me is for us to all get on the same page. And so in this case, they're actually really good. So I've put both these choices as the exact same level. You don't get more points for answering one way or another, because even though I would say this is the better answer, I'm perfectly open to a different one being better because it's not 100% like you say, it's not like chess. And also the interesting thing is that in chess, puzzles are used for tactics, and in League, we're using them for strategy. The tactics or the like micro is not something that is really done, could be done, I think, in puzzles. But the thing that's so useful for me is that if we discussed this, then we'd probably all roughly come to a conclusion. It would probably be kind of quick and it'd probably be based on who speaks first. Whereas now, because it's in a puzzle, I'll know if 2 people say one and 3 people say the other. Whereas if we talked about it, I might be left with the impression that we all agree, and we clearly don't. So it's really useful for me right now for that reason. And in the future, once we have a correct thing that we've decided as a team, then you can put that as the right answer. Cool. So that's good. Let me... I really like the way the video is integrated. Okay, so number 3. You're doing this for Nord or the website? Well, I'm doing this for Nord, but the website that we're using is MOBA Trainer. And I realized I need to check. Sorry, I think Xavier's in the chat. I need to check like what the deal is. Like, I don't know if there's a link that people could use to check it out. But you guys, I think, will also be able to do all these puzzles. Obviously, if you're watching me make them, you'll have normal puzzles as well for like individuals and stuff like that. The new engine that will change League forever in 2024 got postponed. Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it. Yeah, there was a few things that are a bit strange about that, like because it's just one person playing 5 things or one entity playing 5 things. The communication thing was a bit weird, and it was playing on perfect information, not on fog of war and stuff. But yeah, it did. Like they had to fake how it was done. Okay, let's do this one. So we'll test it. We'll make some little videos, and then we'll upload it again. But 2 done already, like that. Three. What should Varus do? Oh, so this is the wave that we were talking about on topside. I can't hear this. I don't know if there's. Okay, maybe there's no sound for this one. We get good chunks. I mean, all this game Samira gets chunked, and we don't do like much with it because we then start to like mess around. Okay, so that means this one is wrong. That again, I never want to have any of them as wrong. Just for the beginning. Once we define stuff, then absolutely. I might have good and okay. Also shouldn't have picked up Rift Herald. This should say, what should Rakan do? I think this also could have been actually coming out base as well. This is the one that I think is really important. I actually can't remember what we even put here. I'm not going to lie, I completely spaced out. We watched that again. So we said we should play bot for 1 cycle. And then after this, the last one I would change to the team. Because this is where Freddy goes for 1 more wave, but actually we should play the top wave, right? So for me, it's more like, should we play mid bot or should we play mid top? And we play mid bot, and I don't know why. We play on the bot side of the map for some reason. Oh, and the ending doesn't have Syndra dying. But I can include that in my little video. Yeah, but we'd said specifically that we should never be worried about Atakan, because whoever starts Atakan is just going to get so chunked out. So in the game we weren't playing Atakan. So first one, what should Varus / the team do? The answers are, put okay choice. Because this kind of thing I think works very well if you're teaching people in solo queue, but I think it doesn't in pro, where it's like, I don't want to say like it's wrong, because I always want to not only leave them with the impression that they can have their own opinion, but also if it turns out to not be wrong after a long discussion, then you lose a lot by saying it was wrong. Could be Jace can shift and catch. Outnumbering the enemy. Answer 2. Jace can take over the next mid wave. I'll change this to good choice, so it's good choice and okay choice. Issue 2, what should Varus do? That wasn't issue 2 though, that's issue 1. This is what should Varus do? I think it's here. Oh no, actually it's here, right? So now they're getting pushed in mid. And what should Rakan do? Answers are play for the T1 top. Even though we are stronger, okay, answer 2. Good choice. Okay. Now number 3, what was this? Issue 3. What should Rakan do? This was like here, right? Yeah. Okay. Where should we play as a team? Like Maokai's dead. I don't think what we clear this wave bot and then we leave. Then we can just play. Be good to know how close Indra is to 2 items. Do you mean 3? She's got 2 already. That might influence if she wants to say another wave or not. I think also the timer for the dragon. I think always having timers, but we would have made a mistake about recording all the videos without timers and doing them all again just to get the timers is maybe not necessary. So where should we play as a team? And the answer would be playing mid bot. I wouldn't have bad choice. I'd have okay choice. The Atakan. But you can take more on the top side now. Maokai is dead. Bot is pushed. And we said that starting at Atakan with all players alive is always bad. Take the T1 top. Play through mid. Clear mid after Varus base. Shadow Syndra and take T1 top. Okay, so this for sure needs a video. Oh, sorry. Yeah, this clip goes on for it covers a decent amount of time. So this for sure is a video, and it's a good video that I can make. This one, okay, is about the shift. I can make that. This one, wait, I get a bit confused. The first one is about the shift. The second one is about the if we can defend, and the third one is about where we go afterwards. Okay, so I can't see anything. What timer was that? 1939. Okay, so we're going for a how the cookie is made once again. Okay. So this is a situation we spoke about in the review. This was the case where Jankos tried to dive on the Corki. Then we started to hit Herald, and we were thinking, like, why did we lose this wave so easily? One of the other options that I think we can consider, having looked at it in review, is after Chachi clears this wave in bot, he actually has a free time to shift fully up, in which case we could actually just shift across and play much more aggressively on this side of the map, with Jace already coming to mid lane. Okay, that's the first one. Now here, So even though we're ahead in gold at the moment, because the opponents are going to push up really aggressively through mid, we don't have a play yet on this side. We need to pick up camps. This is actually a sequence where they get to make a free play onto Tamas on the bot side. Now, I guess you can argue like he should just play much more defensive here and shouldn't be walking towards this tri-bush or something like that. But for me, we need to just be aware that, especially for Alfie and for Martin, like if the enemy is up in tempo, it might be time to make a defensive play on the sequence, even if we're ahead in the game. Yes, we're going to do 2 more scrims, one off stream, one on stream before the official game. So Tuesday and Wednesday, and then Thursday is the official games. So we'll have, I think, 10 more games, which is good because at the moment it still feels all very, very new. While the players are really good, I think, for example, the Ruddy game, if they are actually scrimming as much as they said they'd want to, then it might be a tough one. Okay. Then the last one was after all of this, we kill one side, they kill the other side. Now here. So in this situation, coming out of base, it's got 150 still for the next dragon. Now, we said that if all people are alive, starting Atakan is never good, and Syndra does have TP. The question here is, do we play mid and bot, or do we play mid and top? Now, what actually happens is Freddy goes a bit too far and dies on this wave. But in reality, I think we can instead play on the top half of the map, because there's the tower to get up here, which we can do before the dragon comes up. So playing through mid and then towards top. So both Alfie and Martin being on this side of the map rather than on the other side, because Atakan is not a threat at the moment. Bot lane was pushed in all the way to here, which means that this play shouldn't be something that's possible for them, because we can have numbers on this side of the map. But they see us on this side, which is why they can play aggressively and kill the Syndra here. Okay. Ruddy did show the roster, yeah. You can find it on their Twitter. Let me just title all of these. Wait, there's only 3? That is correct, right? It's going to start getting super confusing. There is 3 questions here. So it's 3-1, 3-2, 3-3. But in reverse order. 3-3. 3-2. 3-1. Okay, this takes some time, but I think it's going to be worth it. So now I can add, this is the first one. I can add 3-1. Banquos tried to dive on the Corki. Then we started to hit Herald, and we were thinking, like, why did we lose this wave so easily? One of the other options. Okay, one of the things I really need to do for the future is start the recording and then wait for a few seconds, because it cuts off the beginning bit, because it's just like loading the fact that it's starting to record as well as stream, which is a bit of a problem. Then number 2, because the opponents are going to push up really aggressively through mid, we don't have a play yet on this side. We need to pick up camps. This is actually a sequence where they get to make a free play onto Tamas on the bot side. Now, I guess you can argue like he should just play much. Okay, that is the right bit for that. Yes. Then issue 3. Okay, then there's one more puzzle that I'm going to do, and then I'll start to talk about, we'll look at some of the other games, but I'll start to talk about how I'm planning the next session already, and like what I'm going to look at and what we're going to look at as a team. I think actually, wait, let me just check, because I think the next one is not on stream, so I'll tell you what we're going to learn even though you won't see it. No, the next one is on stream, so you'll see it. Okay, so that way, maybe that's better. You get to see how I'm going to set it up, and now you get to actually do it. See us do it, sorry. Okay, so upload. Okay, 3 puzzles done. Now let's look at the last one. How many questions have we got in here? 5. Okay. Let's preview it. And this could be the exact kind of thing, right? Where puzzles are just perfect for that. What should Syndra and Jace do? Okay, yeah. So this is Soul. So it's TP to mid. So it's very important for us to be there first so that we can get some poke down before the fight actually starts. I think we should push the... I mean, these two both work. I think contesting aggressively is a little bit dangerous when we have no sums again on Varus and no flash on Syndra. What's with that? Brilliant choice. Oh, hello. But either way, like you can't... The danger that I have here is that I don't... The problem with that having this extra option is that how do you place another pink ward there without being as aggressively as if you're saying the contesting aggressively, you know? Oh, right, okay. But, okay, this is what should Jace do. Maybe I'll change this to like, what should Syndra and Jace do? I know, because I know exactly, we spoke about this, basically like who should go where is the question. And like Syndra mid and Jace bot I think is better if Syndra is vulnerable inside without flash. Is this somewhat auto? No, it's not auto-generated. It's generated by Savior, the guy who was he was in the call last time. So we talked about it together, and then he went away and did all the stuff that we spoke about. But we spoke about loads of stuff, so there's little details that I would still want to change. What should the team do? Recall and set up Nasher, wave, recall, Nash setup, all in. Yeah, so I'm going to keep these as both the same choice, and I'll definitely make a video around this. I might combine these into one instead. But the TP hasn't actually started yet either. Yeah, this is actually what wins them the game. This rumble into. And he doesn't use anything there. So, okay, so there's a few things that I want to do a little bit differently in this one. Okay, so what should Syndra and Jace do? Okay, this one I can just make a video for. Yeah, I like that, both those responses. Then the next question, what should the team do? Which are our options? Contest aggressively. I'm going to put okay choice. Then what was the next one? Push mid-wave. I'm going to put okay choice. Although you have to stay near dragon for soul. This one for me, I might remove because in this exact moment that we have it, I don't know how you can place another. Like, if you place a vision here, you'll put yourself in the situation, the same position on the map as contesting aggressively. So it, I think, confuses it a lot. So I'm just going to get rid of it so that we have those two options. And I think contesting aggressively would be contesting the vision aggressively. While it's good to aggressively contest this bush with another pink, for example, you give the opponents. Okay. Now, number 3, what should Jace do? This was where Jace do. Which lane should Jace go to? Which lane should Jace go to? I'll put it like that so it's not like a. I will put good choice for bot and okay choice for mid. I'll just put the same answer for both. Jace bot into Rumble and Syndra mid would be a safer lane assignment. Syndra has no flash and can be vulnerable. But again, I'm putting them both as the same because I want to see what people answer and I want to see how they think about it. Okay, next one. What should the team do? Oh, okay, wait. So this is here. What do we have? These ones I'm all going to put as okay. Actually, I might put this as good. Okay, this one's going to be really important for the videos for sure. Last one, what should Jace do? I think I might delete this one. And what I might do is I might change this fight thing. Fight. Reacting to enemy of extension. We just must be clear with Jace if he is going to try and join ASAP or not. Because for me, it's kind of just connected to that same thing. Like, the fight works if Jace is instantly TPing or like there as soon as Corky's there. So either Corky's not there because he cancels him, or he's there at the same time because he TPs at the same time. Other than that, I think it's hard. Okay, good. So what was the first thing? 23-29. And it was just about TPing for Soul. Right? One of the things that we spoke about after the game here is that we didn't find that many opportunities to poke out the opponents. Now, of course, that's because the game is quite messy and all those kind of things, but finding these windows for me is really important. So with Soul being up already, I would suggest we actually TP both people to the mid lane, or at least Syndra, who's even further away, so that we can be here first and find windows where, like now, we can be a little bit more aggressive and throw poke at them so that they're a bit low before the fight starts. Because actually, by the time you get there, we miss that big opportunities for poke, which with our composition is really important. Okay, then what was the next question? Okay, should we contest aggressively or not? I just accidentally turned the stream off instead of turning the VOD off. That's a tragedy. Okay. Sorry. I finished recording the video, turned off the stream, and let the video keep recording. Oof. Okay, so what is the recording that I have now? Find that many opportunities to poke out the opponents. Now, of course, I find that many opportunity people to those where, like, now we can be. Is it really aggressively or not? Okay, I'm gonna delete that. I'm gonna remake that one. We're back. Welcome back. Jesus, streaming is hard. It takes a really long time to start this recording going though. I waited like a few seconds and it still wasn't there. So I'm gonna wait like 3 seconds after I press it. Okay, so we spoke after the game about the fact that we didn't find that many opportunities to get good poke with our composition and we were playing fights a little bit too quickly. But we're also missing out on windows for me where we actually can just be in a situation where everyone is at a certain place so that we can land poke. And here is a perfect one for me. So with soul up, even though we can slow them down probably and they can't get soul, so before our solo lanes get there, I think this is a perfect opportunity to TP in, to use this extra window to get more poke down. So Corky's not able to like walk up here and collect this wave quite high without receiving any damage in return because it's just Inax on this wave here. So he's used his poke tool to clear the wave. Whereas if there was more people already coming, like we can play a bit more aggressively on it. Not just in this situation, but in general. So for me, we miss a bit of an opportunity there, but it'd be interesting to hear what you think about that. Okay, now and then I stopped that recording. Look at me, I'm learning. Now the next situation is here. So here, I understand that we want to play aggressively in this bush to try and contest the revision, and we do have more pinks to put down, which could be useful. The thing that is quite worrying for me is that we don't have flash on Syndra, and we have no sums on Varus as well. So this gives them a window to engage on us when we don't have any poke down. Now, if we do go to mid lane and start pushing, then we have to, of course, be able to come very quickly towards the bot side of the map. But something to consider, that we give them this engage window and the engage is just not particularly good. So we actually end up winning this fight, I think, after some poke lands, but they don't really commit very much on Varus, despite the fact that Leona has flash and yeah, will now have ult as well. Wait, did the Twitch stream stop as well? Or not? I mean, YouTube stream stop as well? Wait, okay, they're both fine. Okay, good. No, it's just because, so I'm streaming both, but the primary one is Twitch, which is the one I accidentally turned off. So I don't know if it happened to the YouTube one as well. Okay, we're back. We're back. Okay, so that was the first two puzzles that I think we wanted to look at. Then the next situation was after the fight, and this is the last one, right? Oh no, who goes where? So in this situation, after we've won the fight and we've taken the dragon, someone's going to have to go and collect bot wave, someone's going to have to collect mid. But Syndra, as she has no flash, for me, is a bit vulnerable on the side lane. I think, this was the thing that we ended up all going bot. But in general, which would we rather go and how do we want to kind of organize this? Like if both people want to go back to a lane or someone needs to defend mid, how do we decide who goes in the most accurate and speedy way possible? Okay, then the last situation is this one. Okay, this is the situation that does end up losing us the game. We talked about it very briefly afterwards, but I'd like to explore it in a little bit more detail. So for me, the options are that we go towards the Rumble because he's just inting, and that then disrupts everything that we all our other plans. If someone's overextending, we do need to punish them. But if we're doing that, we have to be very clear about if Jace can follow, or does he have to like get there the second Corki gets there, all those kind of things. Now, Rumble does have Flash in this situation. He also does have Zhonya's. He doesn't use any to live when we go bot lane. So what I don't like is us looking at a situation like this and saying like, oh, we just misplayed it, therefore it would have been good. I want to go a little bit deeper on that because he also doesn't use any of his tools to live longer. The other options for me is Syndra comes to bot lane to collect this wave. You may be a little bit vulnerable, but that means we don't drop this bot wave and we maybe don't drop this bot tower. And then we recall and we play on the other side of the map. And the last option is we just recall and we say like, fuck this bot tower. We'll just trade it for tempo on the other side of the map. Now, for me, actually, the third one is the best. The reason that I like these other two a bit more, even though there are worlds for sure where we just kill the Rumble or we even come bot, Corki starts the TP in, we kill Rumble and we kill Corki, and that gives us like Atakan and Baron and all those kind of things. For me, it just adds a bunch of variance to the game that we don't need to. Because as we saw, this fight can go really badly. Whereas if we just take the tempo, we give this tower, which does, I think, almost nothing at this stage of the game, we set up on this side while they're taking bot tower, then I don't think there's anything they can do to stop us just taking the Baron. As they come into this area that we fully warded up, we can just poke them out. And then those fights, I think, are much less likely for them to win than here. But how do you see this kind of situation? And what are you thinking about like in the moment? Is there a way that we should just say, okay, right, we do want to punish this kind of play and we just play it better? Or do you want to be the kind of team where we think, okay, what's just the best way for us to play out this composition? And can we reduce the variance by just taking the tempo instead and just saying, okay, fine, like he gets this, but it doesn't matter because we can control the other side of the map. 25 minutes into the game, this tower doesn't mean much. So let me know what you think about that. Cool. Okay, let me just name all these, make sure that I've got them right. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This would be 4, 4. Nope, I wrote 5, 5, 4, 4. Okay, this is the situation that does end up. Okay, good. 4, 4. 4, 3. 4, 2. 4, 1. Okay, now we will put them in. Then I'll put the first ones in as well. Issue 1 means that it is going to be temporary scrim clips. Where are they? Issue 1 is 4, 1. Issue 2 is 4, 2. Issue 3 is 4, 3. Issue 4 is 4, 4. Let me just check that they're the right videos. And then we'll go into just reviewing the other games, and it'll be a little bit faster, a little bit more like normal. Okay, this is the situation that does end up losing us the game. Okay, cool. Let me just check this one's right as well. Okay, so we spoke after the game about the fact that we didn't find that many. Cool. All good. Upload error. Okay, I think the only one that I need to check now, I think the first one, I actually didn't instantly put the videos on. So let me just check. I've named them properly though, thankfully. Issue 1, yeah, there's no video. Okay, so 1, 1. 1, 2. 1, 3. 1, 4. Okay, let me just check that that's right. Leona's missed her engage, and Inax has got a really good chunk onto this Samira. So now the fight has changed. Yeah, and that's the right place. Okay, good. I think they are all ready then. Puzzles are done. That's game 1. So still at the moment, very, very long process. We'll just watch Game 2 was a nightmare, so I'm gonna watch game 3, and we'll just watch to see, and I'll speak about how I'm thinking. Hey, Crazy, thanks for the sub. I'll think about how I'm prepping the next things. So I don't know who was here in the last review that I'm doing, but the big thing that I want us to focus on for the next scrim, especially because it's an online scrim, is we're going to be thinking about team fights and the importance of summoners. Now, I've spoken about before, like how I want to get people tracking summoners and stuff like that. And there's two things to consider: is everyone needs to realize how important they are, and then someone also needs to be the person who does them. Now, I actually think the best thing to do is to get everyone on the same page of how important they are first, and then we can talk about who's actually doing the tracking of the summoners or anything like that. Is the stream still working? Yeah. Quarter of a year. Wait, everything's a bit broken. I can't see the... Okay, wait, let me just... This is wild. Okay, right. That's what's gone wrong. Sorry. Fixing things. Platforms, Twitch, accounts. Nope. Just doesn't appear. Okay, so my Twitch chat for some reason isn't in the chat. So I'm going to try and turn off my streaming bot and turn it back on. And then, sorry, I'll reply. How do you generally think about teamfights in a way that supports learning? What do you mean that supports? As in that, like, how do I think about teaching people about team fighting? Okay, now I'm hoping I should see the messages if they come up. Someone write something in Twitch if you don't mind, because my chat thing, which was seeing both chats, wasn't sending me the Twitch one because I turned it off. Probably. Okay, yeah, perfect. Thank you. New Twitch chat message. Okay, so the question was, how do I conceptualize? Okay, so how do you conceptualize the team fight? Because there's so much that goes into it. So the really important thing for me is what we spoke about last split, which I like. What we ended up talking about is like conditions, team fight tactics, and team fight strategy. So conditions would be like the tools that you have available. So ults and flashes, really, really big ones. So important team fight ults are the most important. Important team fight flashes are the next most important. Then like it gradually goes down. You can then it starts to get a little bit fiddly, but those are the ones we really need to track. So for example, in this game, Vi ult, maybe Gragas ult, probably MF and Nautilus ult, maybe even Alistar ult and Vlad ult are probably like the most important things. Then after that, it's flashes on carries. Then after that, it's like flashes on divers. Those are the things that are like the most important. Then when we're talking about team fight like tactics, again, I'm using the chess thing with tactics and strategy. Tactics is based on the current state. Strategy is based on like future states that we want to work towards. So the tactics of the team fight are literally like where you're going to stand when they do this. And the strategy is like how we want the team fights to play out. So we want to play them really slowly. We want to get a bunch of poke down first, those kind of things. Or this is the rough positioning that we want to be in the fight. And then tactics is literally like, okay, we see this happening. What do you do? So those are all the different areas that I want people to work on. But the stuff like the tactics and the strategy, like how you're actually playing the team fights, that's often something that pro players, especially pro players of this level, have quite good. I mean, these players are like, I don't know if they're all challenger right now, but they're all like challenger players, and some of them very high challenger players. So those kind of things they often have the most already done. So the thing for me is being clear about the conditions and also therefore the team fight strategy. So, right, because MF flashes down, next fight, I want everyone flashing on MF to kill her. That's what we need to do in this game. Like, okay, maybe that's not how the fight needs to happen, but like it depends on the like just the getting people on the same page part. So that's why for me, we'll use team fights as a way to talk about summoners. because that's something we got a bit. We were very lucky that Treats is the kind of player who just wants to do all that himself, and that's not very common. And so, if you're on a team with someone like that, and then you change to be on a team with other people and who want to be focusing on other things, then we need to make sure that we find a way to cover that kind of thing, you know? So I'm just going to watch this a little bit loosely because I'm already kind of sure that that's what I want to do. So the practical thing will be everyone will ping summoners, and then we need to find either I am going to talk to Alfie Nash about if he's okay to just do it, and then I can just work with him on it because we don't have that many scrims, and I think that might be the best thing to do. But we can also experiment with like what happens if everyone tracks their opponent summoners and all that kind of thing. But then everyone needs to learn this new skill rather than just one person. Do you think it's important that each player should handle some? Oh yeah, sorry. That kind of answers the question. It's not my job to think about to improve them for the next team. Sometimes it lines up and that's great. I like it when it happens, but the job is to make them good for this team. So it's probably too much effort to teach 5 people this new skill of timing summoners, but it might well be possible to teach one person the skill of it and just work with him on being like, look, just do this, and you have to do it in solo queue when you're doing your try-hard solo queue games. Do it as well. So that we can just have someone doing it. So you're always balancing like best for the future, even if you're like keeping the same players, and best for right now. Of course, none of our agreements go beyond this split. So best for the future is not as useful here as it might be in other situations. I'm just going to kind of speed through this because I don't think there's stuff that I want to be looking at here, but this fight just goes super well. I think he doesn't even kill him. Yeah. Oh, no, he does. But he dies. Yeah, so we've already got a 2k lead, so I'm probably already going to ignore this one. Game 2 I ignored because Callista was like 4-0. I mean 0-4 by like 5 minutes. So it was a bit of a tragedy. They're just massive miscommunication about what they wanted to do multiple times, and then they also die for first blood on the invade. So that's going to be the main thing here. I'll check a little bit later for, okay, right, we've got 5k gold lead already. Like I want to check a little bit for some of the team fights. We could look back at some team fights before the next game as well. That's something I might consider. Our next scrim's on Tuesday though, so I do have Monday as well to prep something, even if I'm not working the weekend. On Monday, I'm going to join Martin's co-stream with the LEC as well, which will be fun. So I'll do that for the content side of things. This was just a big miscommunication about who was there. We thought Pantheon wasn't there at all.
Turret plating will soon fall.
We're diving. 3 people go to bot. How do you consider player development, supporting the player in the future development versus optimizing them for your current goals? It depends on the situation that you're in. In our situation, thinking about the future and stuff is just not sensible. It's just not possible, really. Like I'm with these players for a couple of months, and I'm going to see them a couple of times a week. So it's a bit different when you've got a player for a year or 2 years, and you're seeing them 6 or 7 days a week. That's quite different. So for now, we don't have the resources, including time as a resource, but also just like manpower and all that kind of thing, I think, to really consider their like future development. This is more like a showcase team. So the idea is that people like Nash and Inax want to do what Treats did, show that they're still good players and get an offer from a bigger team, like an academy team or a LVP, LFL team again. Yankos Yankos wants to see about this like streaming career and see if he can build that properly. Freddie wants to do it for fun, no way. And Chachi's, I think, at the moment just sort of keeping his options open for all of those things, I think. So we still have that roughly same lead. It's not exactly clean. There's obviously loads of mistakes, but the main thing I'm looking at is MF is flashes down. Like, so actually we can even skip. Let's skip to these team fights and see how we play these team fights. So both sums down on Gragas. He's dead. That's not a team fight, is it, this one? Can't remember. Yeah, we just die. Okay. This is the one where we just fuck up. And if we put it, Freddie was saying afterwards, I think if he pulls this, we just kill them all. But he just doesn't. He just needs to buffer the ball. On the flash W, he just needs, if he pulls, then we win. How did you go about picking Inax and Nash? I didn't actually. So I've not been involved in the roster construction either time. For a few reasons. Well, the first time was done before they found me. They found the team first. The second time was they wanted to do it, and also I was not 100% that I would be able to stay. It depended on how a few other conversations went. So it was kind of not. I've said this before. Like, it wasn't based on we didn't kick anyone. It was just like basically who wants to do this again, and the people who wanted to will keep, and the people who don't want to or can't, like, then we will have to find someone new. So that's like how it worked in practice. We said this is still playable, but they all have sums. No Talia wall. Bullet time's just coming up now. Yeah, we already said about this. So this is just like the micro of the team fight for me. This is playable, I think, but we just all went on Talia instead, and we just played much slower. When they go on Ezreal, then we can just like threaten them, and if they don't, like, they have to go on Ezreal, otherwise he just eventually pokes them out, and we just save abilities to jump on MF. But I think we just go in too early. But the main thing is just like W. I have the best rookie mid laner as a sub. No. So that's what I mean. I wasn't the one who chose Inax and Nash. They just presented a few players, and I gave my opinions on those players. And there's not, when you're a team with no budget, it's not like you have hundreds of different options. It's ones that like make sense for the whole project. So yeah, I can ask Michelle about like how they made their shortlist or anything like that, but it's a lot going to be just about people recommending and that kind of thing, because it also feels bad to like start reaching out to players and say like, do you want to play for my team for free? Like, it's a bit crazy. So these kind of teams are less formal in how they're put together. So even like Ruddy, I don't know if Ruddy are paying people, but like if you are, then already it becomes a very different thing to like, okay, let's build a roster. Let's also build a roster for the future, all that kind of stuff. Because all these players, just the fact of the matter is, if another team offers them something, maybe not like these three, but both the bot lane, for example, like if another team offers them something, then they'll say yes. With our blessing. I was going to say we're thankful for that. Like, we would be thankful for it, obviously, but it would be completely fine. How do you fix the issues of players being indecisive of whether they should contest, trade, or pass on the objective? I see being indecisive of the objective. Yeah, for me, I think there's a lot of things to do about it. Firstly, with this team, a lot of it is just going to be about, at the beginning, just trying to get people on the same page, because that's something that it's always going to be a bit strange to start off with, because if you're all coming in with your own experiences, your own past teams where you talked about the game in a certain way. So that's the first step. Then if you're talking about teams that have been together for a lot longer, that's when it gets really interesting, and you have to be quite creative, I think, with the problem solving of how you do that kind of thing. Now, my favorite way of doing it is talking about strategy and trying to abstract a little bit more, but it's really difficult to work with people on, because when you're so used to the game like constantly presenting you stuff to do, it's hard to think, okay, like, let's take a step back. Imagine like, if I'm just a bird's eye view of this, how would I play that thing out? And so what a lot of teams, I think, do is they simplify and work on strategy without actually working on it. Now, by that I mean, if you always draft front to back, then the strategy of every game is the same, and therefore you can just spam games and gradually get better at strategy. So before Fearless, you could just say, right, we're always going to have a massive tank in top lane. We're always going to have a mage or team fight mid laner. We're always going to have a team fight AD carry. And we're going to have like enough engage, like at least 3 things of engage and probably more damage than them. Therefore, we're always going to win front to back. Therefore, the way that we play objectives and stuff like that is we hard contest mid lane. If they fight us on mid lane, we just insta go with like Ornn or whatever. Then we go to the objective. If they come to the objective, we get a front to back team fight. We just need to make sure we mark flankers and we just clear on like when we're going to engage. And therefore, you're actually learning and dealing with this thing of being on the same page by basically drafting the same comp every game. Now, fearless means you can't do that, which is one of the reasons I love it, because I think you have to understand the game at a deeper level, because you can't just. It's like in an experiment. You keep certain variables fixed so that you can then like you kind of just ignore them because it's always the same. It's like this. And now with fearless, now you can't really always be drafting front to back because you're going to run out of champs, but also because just the draft is way more varied than it used to be. And so you can't like plan a draft to ensure that in game 3 out of 5 or game 4 out of 5 you're going to have a stronger front to back comp. You can still prioritize it, but I think you have to then learn. I think people will have to learn more about strategy and more about, okay, how do we identify what our comp's win condition is, and therefore how do we make it happen? And the strategy is, how do we make it happen? I had this really good talk about this guy who is an expert on business strategy. That's what he does, writes books about and that kind of thing. And he says, we often say that getting to the top of the mountain is the strategy, but it's not. It's how you get to the top of the mountain is the strategy. So if we have a poke comp, how we make a situation where poke can happen, that's the strategy. And that's the part that I think is really important to try and learn. But it's very difficult. And it's interesting. And teams, like I say, have different ways of dealing with it, whether it's one person just needs to learn strategy and we all just follow what they say, or whether it's we just always have the same strategy every game, so we all learn how that strategy works just by playing, and we just, without talking about it, without conceptualizing it, because it's a little bit hard and weird to conceptualize, we're going to gradually learn by just it's always going to be the same, and therefore it will learn. So yeah, hopefully that answers the question, but you can probably see even in that it's quite different. And it does absolutely ruins most teams' tempo. And for example, we watched the EC versus Los Ratones game, and I think all 3 of the games were lost by EC making poor macro decisions around and being indecisive on whether they should, like, do we burn this Baron or do we play it for the fight, or do we take this Atacan or not, and then do we rush this Baron or not? Like, that was literally 3 games. Lost the final 0-3 to your own decisions. On an earlier stream, you mentioned leadership capital as being important for coaches to establish. What did you or do you do to establish your leadership capital in Nord? It's a good question. I think this is one of those things where I think it's a good thing to think about. And it's almost like I can see it when other people do it. But it's hard for me to explain that, like, okay, this is what I did. I never directly said, like with the last team, for example, right? This roster is really new. But I never directly said, I'm going to be useful even though I'm not going to be super cocky about what I know about the game. But I think it comes through in the actions. So I try to take a genuine interest in all the players, and I think that already helps. People are much more likely to follow someone who they think actually like cares for them and that kind of thing. And I ask a lot of questions, and hopefully I ask the right questions, and people even in the discussions come away from the discussions already thinking like, okay, that helped, and that's going to be useful. But it's a really good question. And I think what I should do at some point is really try and work it out and try and build some actual conscious techniques to do it. But so far, I would say what I do to establish my leadership capital is making sure I'm asking the right questions, making sure I'm really caring and like genuinely interested in the players, and finding out like where they're coming from and how they think about things. And then as soon as they see the stuff you're doing as working, as being beneficial, that's where it starts to build. So even just like, right, we come into the scrims all with a specific goal. When they start feeling that and we start getting better at those goals, then they'll start to like them more. You know, it just keeps kind of snowballing like that. Okay. So like I said, that team fight was a bit of a silly one. This one, I mean, they're all silly. That's the problem with early team with really good players. They're just all a little bit silly. So here, no flash on Talia. But because the fight doesn't start as a team fight, it starts as like a skirmish. And this is the problem with teaching League, because it could be that there are no real good examples of team fights in all these games. I don't think that's true, but it could be possible. And that's why I love this idea of tactical periodization, because over a week, I can guarantee you that there will be some good examples of team fights from our games. But in a day, maybe there's not. And so if the goal for the day is team fights and it's just the goal for the week is team fights, then each day might not be able to give you any extra team fights. Whereas if the goal for the day is team fight, then the last week almost certainly will give you some examples to look at. Because like this for me is not really a team fight. Like someone dies before the start, like this one before. Or here, for example, like Pantheon's on this, like Gwen dies before the start. So like, is this a team fight? Sort of not. But the ones that are really important in competitive games are the ones where it's literally 5 versus 5. And now you start, those are the ones that actually swing competitive games. And so having not much practice of it, because scrims are wild and loads of stuff happens, is difficult. Have you ever thought about doing an anonymous survey? How much do you trust my decisions? I've thought about it. I don't think it's all that useful, personally, especially early on or in like short splits. Now, I've been fortunate enough that like when I talk with players after the split, they've said very nice things and said like, I'd really love to work with you again and that kind of thing. And that's great. So obviously that helps. But for me, I think you can spend maybe this is a silly thing to say, but I think you can probably spend too much time worrying about like the other side of it and not focusing on yourself and what you're doing. And also the other thing that I would say is that there's plenty of players where I wouldn't be the best coach for them. And that doesn't mean I'm a bad coach. And it doesn't mean they're a bad player. It doesn't mean they're like uncoachable or anything like this. It's just like, okay, we wouldn't work well together. So I actually had that with the player that I ended up working with for a long time. But after the first split, we basically came together and agreed like, look, best of luck, but you would be better with a different coach and I would be better with a different player. Because that's really what you're balancing. And that's something that I think organizations don't take into account enough. You're not recruiting a player. You're recruiting a player who's going to be on that team with that coach. And that's where like there can be some players who really thrive in certain situations and some players who don't. And coaches the same. So here it's like a big team fight and we end up winning. But like this is not a team fight that starts like that is not really a team fight. And this one starts again with like they start with a pick, they're outnumbered. How that goes 1 for 1, I have no idea. 1 for 2, yeah. So or like this is the struggle. You have all these ideas of like, okay, the thing we need to learn is like how we're setting up team fights and being all on the same page. And then you're like, okay, but none of these are real team fights. Like someone is just dead before we start all the time. So I'll look at any of the like big grouped up moments. This is the one where Chachi just went absolute god mode, I think. Yeah, we die bar. Yeah, I forgot that I turned off the sound effects. Okay, now we've got sounds. Okay, here's maybe a team fight. Okay, so we instantly get flash. But even that, like, is this a team fight? For me, this is like skirmishing. Yeah, I mean, Chachi in this game is 3-0-5, by the way, and Yankos is 6-0. And we just flashed in, hold people backwards. Is this a team fight? Like, what I want when I say team fight is I want all 10 people alive, all in the same area, and then we'll fight. And I'm not sure that ever happened. Okay, here, is this a team fight? When we're this far behind, I'm guessing probably it's not a team fight. Oh, this was the one under the tower. And we got Victor no flash, so he's just going to be super vulnerable to a Bard ult, and they Bard ult him. Yeah, we didn't ward the cannon. We also went a bit too early because now Chachi's able to move across, but the fight's already started, and we have no flash on Victor. And I still think we should win. Like, from this point, we should absolutely win. We just mess up. Like, we stand on a trap, right? Yeah. Wait, what the fuck? What the fuck hits Victor? Like, he looks like he stands on a trap, but it happens too fast. Like, it looks almost like the Heartsteel proc just does like 90% of his HP. Because this fight also, I think, should go well. We also... Okay. He should be ult. Okay, right. He should die. Because Skarner should... And this is how easy it is, by the way. I always say this about players, and I just did the exact same thing. I always say... Not about players, sorry, to players. But I just did the exact same thing. I always say we have to be very careful because when you're looking back at a fight and you say like, oh, but if I just played this and this and this, then we would have won. But what you almost always do is you make you play better and you don't make them play better. So I was saying like, oh, how does Victor even die here? Because like if we played the back end of this fight better, we would win. But Skarner misses his ult on a CC'd Victor. So I need to fix that as well. Like if we're going to play perfectly, Skarner also ults Victor and Victor just gets pulled under tower and dies. So... that's something that it's just so easy to just fix yourself and not fix the other opponent, the other team. I don't know what like one taps me. I just wanted to quickly see it. Okay, so this misses and that misses. Both of them miss. Okay, so he's starting to take some Kennen damage, but Kennen's exhausted. Then Kennen dies. And it looks like we're clean sailing. Okay, it's headshot. It's just headshot from Kate. Nope. Then he gets suppressed. Then he gets... I don't know. Yeah, the Kate headshot does a decent amount. I think it's just a bunch of damage that all hits at the same time. Kate headshot does a decent amount. Skarner Heartsteel does a decent amount. Then, yeah, exactly. Mantra Q, then all of it. And then here we can't follow because it's partly a dive, and here we miss because if that hits, then we get Jinx reset. So that this one is just a micro, like I think is also a big part of it. It's just micro misplaying from all over. Yeah, headshot, Mantra Q, Heartsteel, all of it hits at like the exact moment. And then second headshot comes in as well to finish him off when he gets pulled over a trap. So, I mean, even that, like, is this a team fight? They're all here. Kate's just walking really far forward and no summoners, so she just gets one tapped. We don't even need to walk in there to take that chunk, but... And we TP in, then Skarner just dives in, I think, this time. Oh no, he just dies. Okay. No team fights. No proper team fights. Well, one or two, but no team fights that I would want to like show to learn from. And I think that'll probably be the same, but that's okay. We're having a short pre-scrim, so we'll talk about champions. We'll talk about this thing with summoners. And the goal for today. The day, not today. The day, which will be Let's make sure we're tracking summoners in team fights. The focus will be team fights, and the part of team fights will be tracking summoners and tracking like big ult cooldowns and stuff like that.
30 seconds until minions
So let's look at some of these situations. All these early ones obviously are just most likely to be skirmishes and ganks. Okay. This situation. Okay. We just get caught in one shot. Okay. This is the thing of having just like really undisciplined scrims. Come on. We can team fight somewhere. Even if we lose it, you know? Like, let's at least see one. Okay, maybe. No. Even now, like, people are just... It's just always a fight starting with people are, like, dead, you know? I think each coach have different take on lane swaps. Where would you land on lane swaps from a coach PFE? As in if they're good or not. I really like them. I like that they exist. I think it was adding a bunch of, like, interesting diversity, but I can completely understand the thing that we should get rid of them. I think that the way they were got rid of feels a little bit shitty when it's just like really heavy-handed and they couldn't just balance it out. But on the other hand, I think the situation that we're in now is also really good because you can still swap around a lot and you can still make some picks work that you wouldn't otherwise work because you can just like constantly swap after the first 4 minutes. But you also can play carries because otherwise you could just never play carries in top lane, for example, because you just get swapped on. So I don't really like, I would, you know, the perfectionist in me would like them to somehow find a way to get us to this situation when, without saying like, just swaps are not allowed. It's like the support item, you know? For ages, they had problems with like junglers buying support item or both people in bot lane buying support item. And then they were basically just like, or top laners buying support item. And then they were like, if you're not near someone, you don't get the support item. Like, they basically just wrote, like, you might as well just say, like, when you walk out of base, call yourself a role and you're only allowed certain things if you have that role. There's actually, there was a MOBA that had that. You picked, like, summoners, but then you also picked your, like, I forgot what they even called it, your, like, game style thing. And one person could pick the game style that mean you get max gold when someone else last hits the minion rather than you. And so it was like your ultimate support thing. But I can't remember why not everyone could just take it. But anyway, maybe we're heading that way. Who knows? Lane swap's a cool strategic tool, but it's a bit too effective having it every game. Yeah, exactly. But it's very, that's what I'm saying. Like, if they could balance it so it was an optional ways but didn't always happen, then in a way that I think that would be better. But I don't mind it like this, where they just say, like, it's still really good to do, but we're just telling you you can't do it up until for the first few minutes of the game. That's actually, I think, an okay compromise. But like I say, it doesn't seem like neat. You know, it's not artistic the way we've arrived in the situation that we've arrived in. So someone was already dead before the start of this one. Someone was dead when we started this objective, but we'll at least see it out. Draven no flash. Yeah, it literally says lane swap detected. Yeah, okay. But this is just like they're out of position and we engage on them. But I kind of was I don't think I was expecting to find any team fights here. So if I have some that I can find, I could watch some like LPL and find them and stuff like that. But I don't think it's actually as useful because I think we still know what I'll say if when I talk about it. When I say like, okay, we need to time summoners and that kind of thing. So yeah, we can be just really clear about the first two, like the tools that are available. So teamfight ults, summoners. And I want us to go into, if AD carries flashes down, like I want everyone to know going into the fight that AD carry flashes down. So like he should flash this because he fucked up. But if it was down, okay, flashes now. Like the way you play should be based a lot more on who's got flash basically. Played with friends like 2 days ago and my support ended up mid lane early on and everyone was super confused when I told them, well, that's not a good idea. But I mean, it's only the first two waves, right? Like, were they literally mid on wave 2 in mid lane? In which case, that's not a good idea in solo queue, no matter, or level 1. That's not a good idea before lane swaps. I think you needed to be a professional team to really take advantage of that. And even then, the mid swap was already hard. So I think that was already maybe not the best one. I don't like it when my support comes mid too much in solo queue now as well, if I'm a mid laner. Yeah, if you're proccing, if you're as a flex group and you're proccing the lane swap detection, I love how serious you're taking it. That you're trying that kind of stuff. It's not good, but I love that you're trying it, you know? If you're playing flex, I love doing it like that. Either we're playing flex and I'm playing like full AP Tarn mid, or I'm playing, I don't know, lethality Jarvan or something, and just trying to find something fun, or Pike Taric bot lane, or I want to play like, let's pretend it's LEC. Let's do it properly. We're gonna do it. Let's do it. And you can try all the swaps and stuff like that. But so often like supports go mid because they see pro players go mid and it's just not good for whatever reason, or it does nothing and just denies you a bunch of XP in mid lane. Like the poke pre-minion spawn and run around with a team. Yeah, Twitch support, like full AP Twitch support also got a heavy nerf from this lane swap detection though. Because it used to be like you just pop up on mid, Halo Blades, hit someone, and then go to top lane and do the same thing and just hope your bot laner survives. But now you just troll everyone. You have to play one wave in bot and then you end up getting trapped in bot because you get pushed in or something like that. Just push and move, push and move. That's the thing to do with your friends in flex. And that's quite fun. Because you'll push and move and you'll get nothing done. But eventually you'll get better at it. Okay, I mean, I think that's pretty much it. I don't think so. This is why I'm excited about stuff like puzzles and stuff that's a bit different and a bit new, and the practice tool and all that kind of stuff. Although because we're a part-time team, setting up a practice tool session instead of a scrim seems not necessarily ideal. And so it's because, right, I say I want us to learn and get better at team fights. I got no examples of team fights from that whole day. There was some in game one or two, but they've now gone into puzzles. But that's it. So actually, to be honest, all of my direct teaching from a scrim that we'll take into the next scrim is actually from just that first puzzle, which is quite interesting as a thing to think about. Okay, well, I'll probably just call it there then, because it's a Friday and I don't necessarily want to do a super long stream. I've got a few other things to think about. Puzzles are done, so if you're watching the players, they should now start doing the puzzles on stream. And it'll be interesting to hear how they think about them. I think there's going to be a lot of things that we can do better, but I hope that they're still very useful. I think that they will be. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I will see you all on Monday. I'm going to be on, let me just look at the calendar, because we do have a set calendar for next week. So I will be able to make my schedule for next week. So you'll see that on my stream soon. Not going to be streaming on the weekend. Next week, we have scrims on Tuesday and we have scrims on Wednesday that aren't streamed. So I will be streaming on Tuesday and probably not on Wednesday. But then I'll also do the games on Thursday and podcasts and stuff on Friday. We're going to do something a bit different for that. But on Monday, I'll be on the co-stream as well. So I will see you guys next week.